All we need to do. Oh, I get a 2 for 1. Hello, gentlemen. Yay. Miranda, Mary, Tracy, aging boldly. I love that name, Tracy. Excellent. Excellente. Hello. Oh, and Nicola is on. Hello.
Hi.
All right. Hi. Oh, excellent. Hello, Cheryl. Hi, guys. Just used sweet chemistry for the first time last night. Woke up shocked at the improvements, right? I'll be back. Okay, come on back, Heather. We'll be here for a good, I think, what, an hour, Alec and John?
Hi, can you hear us?
Not very well.
Okay.
Not very well.
Let's bring it closer.
Oh, there we go. Get closer.
Bring this closer.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah, it's pretty sweet. When we say sweet chemistry, it's pretty sweet. Been using it for 3 weeks. Love it. Yep. I have some more interesting feedback for you as well, Alec. It's good feedback, obviously.
Critical feedback is really helpful too in product development and in formulation. So all feedback is great.
Yes. Well, and I'm just excited because I don't know if you know me or my audience at all, but my audience knows me that I'm when I get excited, they know it's good. So that's usually, and then to obviously get the actual creators to come on live and talk about it is even better. So I'm really excited that you guys have joined us today. Thank you so very much. I'm hearing a little bit of feedback. Is somebody putzing in the back of the camera?
There isn't anyone. We're in the lab and there's kind of the ducks or something, but you hear that?
I thought I heard something, but I'm okay now. Maybe it's me.
I do hear something.
Some feedback, maybe?
Earrings jingling?
Oh, that would be me. Come on, Alec, I gotta look fabulous.
Oh, you do.
Okay, Alex, your skin is amazing. It's you. It's me. Yeah, it's me. Okay, let me bring this down. It's coming from me. Oh my God, how rude. Okay, how's that, guys? Better?
We can hear you great.
Okay, everybody's saying I got mine from Cali. Okay, good.
Also, I have to apologize, thank you and apologize. We have been running, the sales have been just on fire, and we ran out of our special box that we took a lot of care to develop, and now we're getting more printed, so we're sending them out without our special box, which I love this shipper, so I just want to apologize to anyone who's getting it like now-ish for the next few weeks. Okay. Is not going to be presented in the way we really love it to be, but just wanted to.
Fair enough, but I will say I think people are going to be way more excited about the product than the box, in fairness. Okay, is it my earrings, guys? I'm holding them. Let me see if that's. No, I feel like it's me talking. It's like feedback or something.
It's like your voice has a little bit of a jingle, which I don't mind it. I think it's quite fun.
To me, it sounds almost like feedback. Amazing product. Okay. Oh, I hate this when this happens. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's me. Well, I apologize, guys. I hope not, because they're so pretty. Thanks. No, I think it's me. I'm going to see if I stand back because I tend to talk loudly.
Yeah.
So it could be me.
We know.
Yeah, something like glazing the mic. Let me see. Hang on. Stand by. How about this? Better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nope.
A
little bit. Okay. Okay. I took the cord out.
Okay.
Okay, well, we're going to start this way. I think it was the cord. Okay, better. Okay, so I want to introduce to you all, first of all, Alec and John, thank you so much for joining us. BeautyJM, so you guys know it's doing it again. Anyways, independent skincare consultant. My specialty is designing skincare routines. And my goal is to make sure that everybody, when I make my recommendations, everybody are using products that actually work. Because there's no point designing a really killer skincare routine if there's not enough actives within the skincare ingredients for it to work. And my experience with Sweet Chemistry Labs, before we get into it, was I got sick. I had a horrible flu, and you guys know the air, when you start blowing your nose constantly, I was getting a whole rash going on, chafing of the skin, chapping of the skin. And I ran out of face cream that I was testing from a different brand. So I pulled out this duo, which was sent to me. And I was just like, okay, let's give it a shot. I'm a huge glazing oil fan. So to me, I was just like, sure. The next day, my skin recovered. And then I had absolutely no chafing, no irritation, nothing. So this is why I was just like, my initial thoughts and my words were, all right, sir, you have my attention. You have my attention. And I am a judgy woman because I've tested so many people's products, and a lot of them, there's some great ones. I call them diamonds. I'm a little bit into Bridgerton. But on top of that, I honestly think you've nailed it, Alec. I would love to hear your story, because when you told me your story, I thought that was absolutely sensational. And I'm like, my viewers need to hear it right from the sources now, because what you have to offer us is a perspective that none of us usually get on social media. So please tell me about yourself and how you got to Sweet Chemistry.
Okay, sure. Okay, so I'll start at the beginning. I graduated with my degree in chemistry in 1990, and I started to work as a chemist for Pfizer Pharmaceuticals and Quality Control (QC), which in the world of chemists, it's the least glamorous. But I was working on a drug called glucotrol for type 2 diabetes. And even though it wasn't the most exciting work, that's where I really learned the importance of quality control. So not just like formulation and the exciting part of manufacturing, but also before it goes out the door, making sure that everything is what you've said it is, and making sure that what hits the end consumer is everything that you put into the formula. So then I moved on to L'Oreal because I was trying to move back to France. I was wanting to move to France, so I thought, well, I should work for a French company. And I applied at L'Oreal, and finally, 8 months later, they had an earthquake at their Redken facility in California, and the whole place got destroyed. So they moved R&D of Redken to the L'Oreal R&D in New Jersey. So I got my job there, and I was a claims chemist, R&D chemist, and then finally a VA chemist. And a VA chemist is a value analysis chemist. And so what we do is when a company is looking to purchase another company, we'll take a look at the formulas to see if there's any cost efficiencies to be had. Because if you can save cost on a formula when you purchase a beauty company, the purchasing company can make more margin and more profit. So part of doing business, because there's a lot of people to pay at L'Oreal Group. So my job was to take a look. In the mid-90s, they were considering to buy Kiehl's, and back then Kiehl's was a compounding pharmacy. And they had beautiful, exquisite formulas, as they still do. But my job at the time in 93 was to take a look at the formulas to see if we could find cost savings. And what you normally do is you take a look at a formula, you take a look at all the active ingredients, and you decide, okay, which ingredients does the marketer want to just have for story, and which ingredients do we need to have in there for function. And so some of the ingredients, especially antioxidants and things like that, you usually sort of bring down to what we call marketing levels, or what in the industry we all call it fairy dusting. In product development and R&D, everyone calls it fairy dusting. And what you do is you take those and you put them to 0.01 or 0.001%, just so they appear on the ingredient list. And I think many of your community will know that everything under 1% concentration you can put in any order. So the goal
that I didn't know.
Yes, yes. So the goal is to just have it on the ingredient list for label claim. This way the marketers can talk about antioxidants and we've got all this and we have all that. And then you do have some things that help with hydration, wrinkle depth, emollients, lipids, humectants, etc. Those you put in at more functional levels. And the reason why it's very hard to put all of those ingredients in at functional levels is because in an emulsion or a cream, you usually only have about 10 to 15% room for the actives, because you kind of need around 70, 80% water and about 10% emulsifier in order to keep the cream stable. If you put more than 10 to 15% active load, usually it's very difficult to keep the cream stable, and it will turn into water and oil in a jar and go all sorts of colors, which is probably not what most customers want. So this is why we have to pick and choose which ones we put in for marketing levels and which ones we put in for functional. So with that, at lunch I used to make my own. So what I would do is, and I met with the ex-global president of L'Oreal for 40 years. I met with her a few weeks ago for the first time. I've seen her in the elevator since like 1991, but I've never spoken to her. I met her and I admitted that during lunch I would make my own, but because I figured now that she's retired, she wouldn't, send me to HR. And so I used to, at lunch, basically I would take the formula, I would reduce the water content by 30%, and then I would add functional levels of antioxidants and everything else that I wanted in there. And I didn't care that it would fall apart in a couple of weeks, because I would just take it home, put it in my fridge. And then a couple of weeks later, I'd make some more. And the reason I always had to make it every couple of weeks because I didn't put preservative in, so it would only last so long anyways. And I didn't care if it fell apart. So all these years, for 36 years, those are the formulas I've used myself. Would never come to market because I wouldn't be so foolish as to launch a skincare brand. And just too competitive, too many out there. So I was happy making my own, and L'Oreal in the mid '90s switched me to marketing, and that was really fascinating because I learned the power of marketing. There was a brand at the time. It was more of a, like, not mass, but it was like sort of lower level salon brand in Europe. And back then we didn't have the internet, so you could launch brands differently in different countries. So the team that was working on that, they slapped a $25 price tag on it. And at the time, that's, I guess, like putting like $75 on a shampoo now. It was outrageous. Partnered with Fred Siegel in Los Angeles, which was a very happening retailer and salon out in Los Angeles at the time in the 90s. And it became a prestige brand over here and a luxury hair care brand over here. And that was the same formula, the same packaging, and that was called Kerastase.
Wait, you worked on Kerastase?
I worked in Laura Professional, but I was near the team that worked on Kerastase, and that was Kerastase, yeah.
Wow. Oh my God, Alec, I keep learning from you. This is insane. Continue.
Yes, it was fascinating, like the power of marketing to sort of give aspiration and allure. It was a fabulous formula, like, don't get me wrong, a wonderful formula, but it's so interesting that you could just change a positioning of a product to the end consumer based upon how you talk about it and how you visualize it, right? And that was really fascinating to me. And I went on to Victoria's Secret Beauty at the time. They had just started. And Robin Burns had left Estee Lauder, started Victoria's Secret Beauty, and I worked on a brand called Body by Victoria. And some of us may remember that from the 90s, but I will say the thing I learned there was how extreme the word aspirational can get. In the mid 90s, I was drinking the Kool-Aid. I was trying to be like everybody else and trying to aspire to some impossible aesthetic. And I remember sort of being with the retouchers, with the supermodels, and being like, no, that's ugly. No, change that. Oh, make her nose smaller. Make her, make this bigger. Make that smaller. And I was like, years after years of therapy, I realized that, oh, that was probably not a good thing to do. So, but just again, learning the power that of marketing has, and then eventually ended up as head of marketing for NARS Cosmetics until 2008, where it was so interesting to formulate color cosmetics, and then to be able to position it in a really like artistry in a position that was really based on artistry. If anyone knows Francois NARS, he is a true artist, not just a makeup artist. So it was really great to work on that. So basically the career has been all the way from R&D to marketing and just sort of learning the whole industry over, a number of years.
Well, you had a hell of a career, my friend, and you worked with a lot of big wigs in the industry. And I think this is what really solidifies my thoughts, because I would try products and they would have the ingredients in there. And I'm very clear, I'm not a formulator. I'm really good at putting together skincare routines and knowing which ingredients work best for which skin types. But when you don't, I knew it's always the formula I would always go back on, and it just makes so much sense. Sometimes I would try something, I'm like, it didn't blow my skirt up, I'll be honest. I wasn't exactly too terribly impressed with it. But then I try something else, I'm like, okay. So now we understand it's obviously the product dusting and or the way that they're formulating it that is a little deceptive, which I think none of us are naive enough to say we don't know some of that's happening with some of the brands. Like, we're not trying to be cruel, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we're getting what we're paying for. So if we're buying, a good product, we want a product that actually works. And for me personally, that's why I like to test everything, because then that way I can confidently say, yeah, go for this one. It's fantastic. And just so you guys know, sorry, not you, Alec. If you guys can just tap on the screen, give us some love, give us some hearts. It really helps to push this algorithm, and hopefully we can get a few more people to come and join us, because Alec is truly unique. And kind of tell me, obviously this is a passion project for you, because you clearly said I wasn't about to go and pull a line out and start your own brand. I'm really glad you ignored that. So thank you. My skin thanks you. What made you decide to actually go into this and go, okay, I'm going to give this a shot? Like,
Thanks for asking thanks for asking that. Yes, a couple years ago, I was 55 at the time. Had consulted since about 2008 when I left NARS, and was quite happy consulting. I've consulted for a lot of startups and retailers and brands, and to watch these brands just work so hard and struggle. And, over decades, it was just something that I was just not really wanting. I just wanted to collect my retainer and go home and have a vacation and, have my life. And then I figured by 55, I would kind of 55 to 65, I would kind of just I pay my dues a little bit, right? So I just wanted to sort of not coast, but just be okay and start saving for retirement, which I had not really started doing very well. So definitely no plans on starting a line. But then I got a call from Xilex Bio, Dr. John O'Neill here with me, and I got a call to go see a new potential client. And this is during COVID, and I thought, okay, good. I need another client. I need another retainer. And they invited me to the lab here. We're within the SUNY Downstate Biotech Incubator. And they invited me here, and it was the first time I've ever been invited to a lab in all my career. Usually when you get invited by a skincare brand, it's usually a cute office in Tribeca, New York, or Melrose, LA. And there's a lab coat in the corner that, you take your picture in with a beaker, and that's usually the thing. And then the lab that everybody uses is usually the contract manufacturer, right? You go to the contract manufacturer and you tell them, I want something with like a chamomile something, or a, bok choy peptide, or whatever it is you want. and then they'll kind of make it for you, and then they produce it for you, and then you just create a story around it, and that's the usual. But the first time I was invited to a lab, and I got here, and I figured maybe the lab would be, there's been a couple of beauty labs. You may or may not know them, but one was Amorous, and there's a couple others. They, owned some brands, but then they also did R&D where they would come up with like the next asparagus exosome or the next mushroom peptide, or like the beauty technology, which is fun. Like I know I'm making fun of it a little bit, but like I don't know, we're not curing cancer. Actually, I think Alec's Bio kind of is a part of that world, but in skincare we're not. So why not have fun with the mushroom exosome, right? Like I'm not poo-pooing it. It's just I would never risk my retirement on that. And so when I got here, I was like, I figured it was a beauty lab. And then I got here and I was walking down the hall, and there's the AIDS vaccine lab on the one side of the hall. And then I get to Alec's Bio and I meet Dr. John O'Neill here, or John, as he prefers. And I sat down and I expected to be intimidated. Because I'm in this kind of, very clinical atmosphere. And he proceeded to tell me the passion he has for sort of working on technologies that can help with fibrosis, right? And tissue engineering. And then I learned that him and some of the other scientists had spun out of Columbia University's lab for stem cell and tissue engineering. And they were on their own and sort of really focusing on extracellular matrix technologies. And if you've been in beauty product development, we all know that the peptides that are sold by Sederma, Croda, Lubrizol, the Matrixyl, the Argireline, all our industry peptides that we've all been purchasing since year 2000. And I don't know if some of your community knows how that works. Usually, we all buy the same peptide from these peptide manufacturers, and what you do is you add a ceramide, and then you add like some sort of botanical extract, and then you call it and then you call it your peptide complex. This way, you can say it's a 5% peptide complex because you can have 0.00002 peptide, and you have 5% of the extracts and all the other things, right? So that's the way we do it in market. So the nice thing about having R&D and marketing is, you know all the tricks, right?
Yes,
and
you do.
You can also talk about your proprietary complex, because that mixture is unique to.
That's right. You can patent your complex, which is really a mix of a few things together, right? And so I was realizing, wow, what the industry has been trying to mimic, this group of scientists is actually working with extracellular matrix peptides, or what they call matricine peptides, in real life, or IRL as TikTok likes to call it, I guess. And so I was really fascinated, and they had told me they had done some studies on lung sealant and repair. And that was really fascinating, utilizing lung matrikines or matrikine peptides extracted out of lung tissues to help lung repair during surgery and clinical applications. And then they said they had also hundreds of matrikines extracted out of upcycled bovine bone from the food industry. And they had mapped out with peptidomic data around 315 of them so far. And I'm thinking that I'm used to like 5 to 10 synthetic ones from the beauty industry.
Right.
And he's telling me they've got, gene expression data, peptidomic data on over 315 so far within the extract of the upcycled bovine bone tissue. So I got excited because at the time, again, I was 55, and I thought, I really want these for myself.
It always starts there.
It always starts there, and and I knew that if you're just a marketer, the science is just going to be too much. Yeah. But if you were just R&D, you wouldn't know how to talk about this, because when we first came out, people were like, upcycled cow bone, like, where do you get that? Your garbage? Like, it was very, novel and odd. So you have to be able to market it correctly. So I came out and I was just like, Gwyneth is loving bone broth. So, it's just a little skip and a jump from bone broth.
Sure.
So I just decided, okay, if I take my formulas, which I think I had mentioned, I have 4 formulas that I've used myself over 4 decades for very specific reasons. And if I take those 4 formulas, and then I add room for about 3% or 0.2% by weight of the matricine peptides to it, that would be my sweet chemistry. That would be terrific. And the challenge is, remember how I told you that my formulas are not stable? Remember?
I remember that.
I'd have to make them every couple of weeks because they would separate. And they weren't shelf stable. So we developed the glass airless. Some of you know the glass airless. It's a freaking fortune, but we're trying to bring the cost down at that. But what happens when you pump, the bottom comes up within the glass. And I'm sorry, some of you who the glass is very fragile, be very careful. Don't drop it. If you do drop it, let us know. We do a one-time, forgiveness, and we send you a little merino sleeve so you don't, break it again. But the reason why we did it in such fine glass was because glass is not. There's a misconception that glass is more sustainable than plastic. It is not more sustainable than plastic if it's heavier than plastic.
Interesting.
So that's because of the carbon emissions to manufacture the glass, and then also the carbon emissions to in freight of the glass, of heavy glass. So we did the glass so that it was lighter than your average plastic container, so that and when it is lighter or as light or lighter, then glass is more sustainable. So the only plastic, ours is the cap and overcap is 14 grams of plastic. Yep. And then most bottles are about 140 total grams of plastic. So we're about 87% less exactly plastic. And so as I've gotten older, I care more for some reason.
It changes.
Yes, it changes. So I like the idea of every time I use it, I'm just using 14 grams of plastic. And just as a secret for everyone, our hope, and we're going to test it with a cohort of our customers who we love and trust, Natasha, and
I'm judgy.
and we're doing a test where so the bottom can screw out. Always keep it tight because it works by vacuum, so you have to make sure it's tight. But we're hoping that 4 times a year you could unscrew the empty bottle, and as you notice, because the bottom comes up as you use it, you use every single drop. So then when you unscrew, throw the empty glass one out, and we're hoping to have a cartridge, the same bottle that you could screw back in. And then if you do that 4 times a year, because maybe after 4 times, you probably want to throw the pump out, right, after a year. So that would mean that for a full year, 4 times use, instead of 4 bottles of 140 grams of plastic, you would only use 14 grams total of plastic for a full year's use. And that just, I don't know, that just makes me feel much better about things. So we're hoping that works.
Listening to you, it just kind of resonates with what my experience was. That's why I wanted to stay independent, and I apologize for it. This is definitely on my end, and I don't want to sign off and sign back in, so my apologies to everybody here. But I had the same issue, 40-ish hits, and you don't want to play by anybody else's games anymore. And you really want to do it your way. And to do it your way, you have to be an independent, and that's scary as hell, because I called it the golden handcuffs. I had a pension, guaranteed income. Things were taken care of. And now I'm going to an area where I hope this works, or else I'm going to be a barista. That was my backup plan. So I love your story, Alec. I just want to say, from somebody who works with a lot of cancer patients, my husband is going through chemo right now. Clients that have really bad rosaceas, clients that are going through some of the worst skin conditions they've worked with. As soon as I get them on some of the chemistry labs, their skin is recovered very quickly. Very quickly. My husband's going through chemo right now. His hands were getting really, really dry. And the nurse was like, "Oh, you just need stronger urea." And I'm like, No, just wanted to make sure there wasn't anything medical. I've got stuff 2 days. His hands are normal.
Wonderful. Yes.
2 days, and he's doing chemo. So please understand, your product is sensational. I don't say that lightly. I think you have a viral product. I think the value, the cost, the packaging, the whole thing is sensational. Very well done. 2 thumbs up. And I will be forever purchasing it from you. Like I like the matricines because for those of you who know me, I sure love exosomes. I had an awesome opportunity to go see the lab. We'll go about that on a different topic. But the matricines, wow. Tell me more about the matricines. I know you, Dr. John, but do I just call you doctor or John, or what do I call you?
John, please.
John. Yeah, it feels a little odd, right? He's like, don't call me that. Tell me all about the matricines. What is this is different. This is different than your regular peptides. Please explain them.
Sure, yeah. Well, as Alec mentioned, my background is in biomedical research, and I came out of a laboratory at Columbia University. And in that lab, it's the laboratory for stem cells and tissue engineering. My focus and research expertise was in tissue engineering and regenerative medicine. So looking to see how we can take molecules, materials, and use them to create regenerative capabilities. And some of the other work that Silex Bio does is focused on regeneration for organs in the transplant space. And as Alec mentioned earlier, we were working with the fundamental building blocks of tissues, and that includes extracellular matrix. And of course, everybody here will know how important the integrity of the ECM is for your skin. So we've spent over 10 years researching and understanding some of the biology behind the components of extracellular matrix. So when extracellular matrix is broken down, it's initially comprised of proteins and other biological factors. When it gets broken down, it breaks down into these little peptide fragments. And I think historically, a lot of people thought of this as sort of just, biological breakdown that gets broken down and recycled. But actually, there are very potent reparative signals in those fragments. The analogy we use is, if you, come across, a bunch of glass on the floor, maybe it means that somebody dropped a bottle or something, right? So you could think about, a bunch of bricks, maybe this was a brick wall. So there's information in the breakdown of the matrix that cells respond to and can help, kickstart reparative processes. And so in the medical field, we work a lot with proteins and peptides that come from a variety of sources. And we were working, in this case, with proteins from a bovine source. And the clinical testing on this was very promising. And this gets us to around the time that we were looking to find a partner. And we were very fortunate to find Alec. And this is the other sweet chemistry. The other aspect of sweet chemistry is we've had a fantastic time working with Alec and the team.
We had great chemistry together.
Yes, you do.
And I forgot. So one of the things that was most interesting for me and Xilex, that Xilex Bio in 2019. So their work in regenerative medicine sort of extends beyond matricine peptides as well. They are experts in tissue engineering. So they explained to me when I first got here that, Columbia University Lab for Stem Cell and Tissue Engineering, apparently stem cells were considered rock stars of the world of regenerative medicine, but ECM was kind of like, in the background, extracellular matrix. But they're realizing that extracellular matrix is more than just structural, that there's a lot of signals within the extracellular matrix, that regenerative signals, and it's this really expanding field. And then because of their expertise in tissue engineering, they were able to, and this is much more than matricine peptides. So, it's I don't want to make it sound like it's just the peptides for this,
Right.
But they were able to in 2019, New York Times Science section, a whole story in there. If anyone wants to Google it, they can, also Google it. And in 2019, they were able to take a deceased donor lung that was too damaged for transplant, refused by all the transplant surgeons across the U.S., and within 36 hours or so, they were able to regenerate it to be transplantable.
You're kidding.
Clinical success in regenerating a damaged lung so that it could be transplantable. So that made New York Times, I think Nature magazine, and in just an amazing feat. And I think, was it Dr. Matthew Bacchetta or with Vanderbilt University, Dr. Matthew Bacchetta, where where they work together. And then this year, hopefully, they're moving into the first human trial. And all of these studies are partnered with academia on these human trials. And this year would be the first it's a different term now. I call it compassionate use case human trial. And if that goes well, that's someone who's been basically kicked off the list, because you can be kicked off the organ transplant wait list very easily. Yeah. And they will volunteer. And if that goes well, they'll move into heart, liver, and kidney. Heart, liver, and kidney. And if those go well, that could effectively wipe the organ transplant wait list globally. So part of the whole idea of sweet chemistry is not just, so some people say, why sweet chemistry? And I'm like, well, chemistry is often presented as very cold and calculated and intimidating and and really when you think about science, science is meant to sort of explore life on a molecular level, to extend life where possible. This whole topic of longevity, I mean, the idea of longevity where you could regenerate organs that would normally be thrown out. I called it refurbishing, which I don't think Alex uses the term refurbished.
We say rehabilitating.
Well, but it makes sense. Like, to the lay person, it makes sense.
Same thing, pretty much. Yeah.
I don't want to talk about a retailer, but when you can get the refurbished version. So if you could get that, like, how amazing would that be? So when I was thinking of chemistry, and usually it's presented very cold and intimidating, I decided we should call it sweet chemistry, because chemistry is actually loving and kind and good. And then there's also the chemistry between people. So you're working on things like rehabilitation, organ rehabilitation for transplant. You kind of have to come from a good place, I think. Mm-hmm. You can't be a creep and be doing that. I don't think it goes together.
No.
The idea of chemistry is the energy between people is really spoke to me. And so a part that we don't talk about with sweet chemistry a lot, we do it about once a month. Our investors don't really like us talking about it that much because they'd rather us talk, get sales. But we donate 1% of our sales to 3 organizations. One is to 2 organizations. One is iResearch, which are young scientists that there's just not a lot of support for science education anymore. So there's an organization called iResearch that helps those talented young people that want to be in science, and sort of gives them the resources to be able to learn. And then Young Arts is the same with young artists, because the arts aren't supported anymore either. But the arts are what kind of gives us, our passion, and arts are what sort of brings people together. It's the thing that helps you to understand life and enjoy life more than just every day, eating, sleeping.
Yeah.
And so we support young artists. And then I usually say this when Alex is not in the room, but Alex is not the best at PR.
I don't know any medical lab that is. I'll be honest. They think very differently than we do.
No, they are good at PR, but in beauty,
beauty's different world.
In beauty, we're all PR, right? Like, we're all marketing and PR. And so our goal is to get exposure for the work, and there was some challenges last year with the FDA funding of some of the studies. A couple of the funds were pulled because they sort of mentioned the word diversity in them, and that was, I guess, a challenge. So they got them pulled, but so we're trying to also support them and get the word out. So yeah, just supporting Alex Bio and the work is a really big part of Sweet Chemistry. And you know, when you've been beauty for 36 years, it's kind of nice to like do something a little more, interesting and meaningful.
Absolutely. Something I don't typically talk about, but I always say to my husband, anytime we have a good month, I usually do a donation to the Cancer Institute here for us. Because when you're touched by something horrible like that, you want to do it in a way where it's going to be effective for the next person, because some people, they don't have benefits. They're traveling in to come and get their treatments, and they can't go to work, so it's important to give back. And I truly support that as well. I knew you guys were great. I really did. I mean, you can't have a product like this unless it's amazing. I didn't realize you were that great. So my hat's off to you. So I'm even more tickled pink, and everybody keeps asking me, because that's why I keep showing it. And again, sorry for the sound quality. The big one. Now we're going to talk about the different duos, and I want to let you guys know there is a discount code. Thank you very much, Alec and Joel, BeautyJM20. So you get 20% off from your purchase. Highly recommend it. I love the duo, especially for dry, damaged, dehydrated, chemo skin, rosacea skin, all my people with compromised skin barriers, trust me, you're going to love it. And for the oily clients out there who are like, I don't want to go anything too crazy, Barrier Repair Hydra Serum. So we'll talk about the differences. I'm so sorry about the sound quality. I'm going to apologize all the time. My obsession. No, I'm not joking. My obsession. I just ran out of my first one. I started in December. So we're almost, it'll be March tomorrow. It lasts like almost 3 months. Like almost 3 months. That's sensational. I started off with 2 pumps because I was sick, and I put half a pump of the oil. I mixed it together and put it all over. That's my favorite combo. Or you can apply it just like 1 or 1.5 pumps, apply it, and then put the oil over top, tap that on in. But I'll be honest, I use this both day and night. Somebody was saying, what are you doing with your skin? The longer I use it, the better it is. Now, you guys also know I do the Anti-Age MD. But when I added this, it was just like next level. And that's what I want to do. I want to provide options for my clients. So if their budget is here, well, then we can start here. If you're highly sensitive, reactive skin, you need to start by building up that barrier. And then you have matricines on top of it. Like this is sensational. Did you see the photo I sent you of Gina, my client?
Yes. Wow.
2 weeks.
Wow. Yes.
She was so excited. I'm just like, I'll send it to Alec. I'll make sure the team gets it. Because she was so shocked. She has been fighting with her skin for over a year. So honestly, Alec, thank you for making me look good. Because now when I have people having issues with it, I can just go to Sweet Chemistry. You'll love it. It is sold. So I have it on what's called Shop My Shelf. But I think if you just go to Sweet Chemistry Labs and you punch in the discount code, you'll still be fine. Is that correct, Alec? Yeah, I highly recommend the duo. So you are, the other thing that you did that I'm absolutely love is that you broke it up based on skin type, because this is something that not a lot of companies do. And mature skin dries out very quickly. So you can even have your good old, goes on after the Anti-Age Duo. You bet. Just think of these guys as your moisturizers. Best way to describe it, with extras. That's the best way to describe it. But, shoot, where was I going?
Talking about the formulas for skin types.
Yes, thank you. So a lot of companies don't do that. They kind of create a base and it's like, you figure it out. When I created Shop My Shelf, I created it based on skin type, because it is even a little nuance is a big deal for a lot of people. And I wanted to make sure that I curated my Shop My Shelf to be very specific on skin type. Mature skin definitely dries out. So even if you were oilier skin type in your youth, you'll find that in your 40s, 50s, and plus, it's going to start drying down, but it still responds like oily skin. So something as heavy as this might be a little too much. So I love that you created, well, technically 4 different versions. So could you explain them to us?
Yes, with pleasure. So first of all, the creams, I'll just explain the structure of the creams.
Yes.
So creams are an emulsion and what they call oil and water emulsion. And normally, as I mentioned, you have 10 to 15% room for the actives. You have about 10% for emulsifier, and you have about 80% water. That's kind of the general rule across the board.
Okay.
And what I'd done is I brought down the water by 30%, and then with the extra 30%, so I have 45% room in the bottle to put everything in at functional levels that I've always loved. And one of the big differences that I think has really helped me is that my whole career, everybody in the industry knows it. Usually it's the antioxidants that go in at 0.01, 0.01, 0.01 times 10. And then you talk in marketing about the antioxidant protection from free radicals, right? And I instead, my minimum is 1% of each. CoQ10 is best at 0.5%. Right. It's more is not necessarily better for everything. It's the right functional amount. But let's just say, unless it's a peptide or a retinoid, 0.01, 0.001 is not going to do much, right? And so I've always put in the 1% of about 10 to 12 of them, so that I moved to New York City around 1990. So when I walk out in New York City for the past 36 years, I have a good 10 to 12% antioxidant on to fight in New York City. There's a lot of free radical damage.
It's a bustling place.
People ask me, like, did you actually use your product? You've only come out with it now, so how could that have gotten you good skin by this at 57? And I'm like, actually, I have used all of these formulas because and in each of them had functional levels. And I'll just tell you I'll tell you about the 4 products. But first, there's 4 products. There are a range of emollients. And the first product I ever sort of really created was the Hydra Serum. Mm-hmm. And that was in my 20s, and I was in the lab making no money. And I don't know why I threw that in there, but
just the reality of life.
But I was very oily, acneic. We got the boils. If I didn't do everything perfectly, a lot of people thought I had perfect skin, but it was because I was relentless. A day never went by, no matter how late I was out, no matter how early in the morning I came in, whatever the case was, I was relentless on caring for the skin. And the Hydra Serum, it had very little emollient because in my 20s, I was very oily, so I didn't need a lot of emollients. All I have in the Hydra Serum emollient-wise is the Rosa rubinagosa for the cell turnover. That's rosehip, but the rubinagosa is the best one versus canina. And then I do have 3% ceramides, pure ceramides, not the ceramide blend, which you end up having about 0.15. I have 3%, full 3%, which I think is the most in the industry, which I don't brag about that being the most because sometimes more is too much and it's bad, right? Yeah. But in this case, I believe SkinCeuticals, the 242 has, I think, 2.5 pure ceramide. And I just think 3% is just like so good. Plus 2% seaweed polysaccharide. We get it from a group of farms in Alaska, seaweed farms in Alaska that used to be fisheries, and now they converted to seaweed farming, and they create these polysaccharide, which is amazing humectant. And then I put the 5% niacinamide in there because I don't put the niacinamide in the other ones because some people, have an issue with niacinamide. I love niacinamide, so I want it in there. And then all of the actives in there as well, all the full 3% matrikines. And when people ask, oh, well, do you use the same amount of matrikines in your product that you use in the clinical studies? I remember Alec asking me, oh, how much do you want to use in the products? And I'm like, the clinically studied amount, right? Like, this is not going to be marketing levels. This is not going to be, 0.00002. So, because I'm using it and being in my late 50s, I'm not like, I don't have, this is very important to me.
Yeah.
And so that was the Hydra Serum. So when I was really oily and acneic, I could really use that. But then when I was getting into my 30s, I'm like, something's happening. And I need more, and I need more emollients. Not that much more emollients, but I need more emollients. So I created a more structured cream. I didn't like being glowy, so it was still a satin finish, not a dewy, glowy finish. Not too much emollient, but more emollient, more in the cream, and all of the actives in there, and that became the Hydra Cream. So, and then in the winter, I would put the Hydra Serum on, and then I would put the Hydra Cream on, and then in the summer, or in Miami or whatever, I would just do the Hydra Serum by itself. And so for oily skin, acneic skin people, I say just use the Hydra Serum as your moisturizer. And then for those of us who are kind of getting on a little bit, I do the duo of the Hydra Serum underneath, and then the Hydra Cream, which is what I did today, because it's actually getting a little warmer out here in New York. It was absolutely freezing. So today I just some days you just feel like being satin, you don't want to glow. And some days you want to glow, right? So like some days I use Hydra Cream, some days I use Lipid Cream. So when I was in my 40s, I started to see something else happening in the mirror. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need more emollients. I need more everything.
That is so true. The 40s hit and you're like, what?
I was like, what's going on here? I need more. So then basically the Lipid Cream came to be, where I just increased the oil-based actives, just rebalancing. Many of the actives in all four are very similar. It's because we don't believe in, like I said, the new mushroom peptide and the Bacteria X. Like, we believe in the ingredients that have been studied, and then making sure we have functional levels and having them all jam-packed in there. I have 77 versus the industry average of 33, because I am not there. There's some other brands that I really love their products. I buy them and then they go on the shelf, and I'm always late. I got here at 5:40, so it's like I'm trying to set up, and so I don't have time for layers and layers. I know many people maybe on here right now loves doing the layers, and you know what? I get it. Like, it's sumptuous. It's aspirational. It's luxurious. But like, I just don't have time. Yeah. And I know some people like, well, you have to do because the skin only takes it. I'm like, that whole story is not really for me. The only thing I do adhere to is I don't put the oil based on first, because then the water based will just like slide off. But other than that, I want it all in the same thing. And I have to travel a lot for work. So I want everything in one bottle, so I could put it in the carry-on instead of like the checked bag. I don't like checking a bag, because then you never get it again. And I'm always in a hurry, so I just wanted to jam pack 45% of everything I could fit in there, plus the 3% matricines. And so the Lipid Cream became when in my 40s, and then like something else started happening in my later 40s, and I'm like, okay, I need more. And I figured, I've seen facial oils on the market for decades. I've never liked facial oils. I look at a facial oil and I'm like, I'm going to break out. Like in my 20s, if I looked at a facial oil, I would break out. Mm-hmm. And I was like, who uses facial oils? It's very polarizing. Some people love it. Some people hate it. And usually facial oils are botanical. They're all botanical, right? And there's some beautiful ones out there, some beautiful botanical ones. But the way you formulate facial oils, just so everybody knows, is the 100% of the time, you put in 95% of your base oil, the sweet almond oil, the camellia oil, beautiful oils. Like, I'm not getting down on those oils. They're great. Oh,
you just have to.
We lost our lab light.
Oh, there you go. You got to wave.
We weren't moving around enough.
Yes. Where was I? Oh yeah, camellia oils, sweet almond, etc. And they're beautiful oils, but like you can go to the health food store in the corner and buy them for like a couple dollars, right? And so and then what happens is you put 95% of a base oil, and then with the 5% you add all the rest in there. And I just like, what's the point? So I love the berry oils. I love sea buckthorn. Jojoba is also excellent. The elderberry, the Rosa rubinagosa, the Kadaku plum, like all those really special antioxidant, anti-inflammatory oils. Like I want them at a minimum of 5 to 6.5% each. So like evenly distributed. You know what I mean? Not just squeezed into like the little 5%. And then the other thing that I thought was important is I've done some research on regenerative farming. I've gone to go visit some, and there's some people who definitely say organic is not necessarily better than conventional. I've always thought, look, you can buy an apple, you can go home, you can wash it off, you can scrub off the pesticide, and you're probably okay. But like, I really love the berries. Berries are really jam-packed full of polyphenols, antioxidants, and I eat a lot of them. And the thing is, when you're extracting berries, they can't scrub the pesticides off, right? Yeah. So I have red raspberry, cranberry. I have all of them in our formula. And to me, it was really important that the farming technique was the most had the best SOPs and the most care. And for me, that was really important. And because the pesticides, that what they do is they kill living organisms. And we know that our skin is filled with millions of beneficial organisms. So I've always tried to sort of not eliminate preservatives, because you need them, right, for shelf life. But when it's in an airless bottle, right, you need less preservative. And then the way we usually formulate in corporate, we put in 10 years worth at least. You know why? Because like when you're huge, sometimes you just, if it ends up somewhere, you just want it to sort of survive an atomic bomb. So like after all humans have been, eliminated from this earth, there will still be the skincare will still be preserved.
We will survive.
We will survive. And the thing is, you just need enough for the shelf life of a few years. So preservative and pesticide and their effect on bacteria on the skin and the microbiome, I just would want to keep them at a minimum. So that's the goal. So in the oil serum, not only is every oil organic, and I don't know, some of you, if you've seen facial oils, you'll see that there's asterisks on some of those oils, and they'll say, from organic farming. But then you'll see other oils on the ingredient list that do not have the asterisk, so they're from conventional farming. So my thing is, if you don't want the conventional pesticides in your product, why would you put some organic and some not? Like Metafoam, for example, is a beautiful oil. I will use it as soon as it's available organic, but it's not. There's some sort of monopoly on the farm, so they only do conventional. I just won't include it because I just don't want I don't want extracted conventional pesticide in our products. So there's that, and then the other half of our oil is the serum part. So I love all the botanicals, but I need more. So like the full 3% ceramides also goes into the oil, and you can. Some people say there's kind of like gelée-ish. It's a little thick. That's the ceramides, and a lot of people love it because it's not it's not a drippy oil. And then we have 7% THD ascorbate, which is the vitamin C derivative. I love L-ascorbic. I'll put L-ascorbic even in my cream that I have in the shelf, like my own. We'll eventually come with our own L-ascorbic vitamin C serum, but I'll sometimes just mix that in on my as I'm applying. But the THD ascorbate is a derivative, and some people feel that there's some evidence that it works on lower layers of the skin, that it's more penetrable, that it's has different characteristics versus L-ascorbic. And my thought was, why not enjoy them all? Why not use them all? And the THD ascorbate is known to be more democratic. Some people that have issues with L-ascorbic acid or vitamin C usually THC ascorbate is okay for them. So this way they can enjoy the vitamin C derivative and that the benefit from that. And then the 7% squalene, 0.5% CoQ10, the 1% cholesterol, the 0.2% phytosphingazine, like all of these great dermatological actives, as well as the beautiful botanical antioxidant oils. That the oil serum and then the matricine peptides and the full 3% on top, that to me is like a chef's kiss. Like,
yep, winner, winner, chicken dinner. You got it.
Oh, and then with the oil serum, what I did was, so I spoke about the decades of my life, but it wasn't like I woke up on my 30th birthday and all of a sudden, I was drier. Or my 40th or my 50th. It was like, it's like a back and forth and, depending on the weather and where you're at. And are you in Phoenix? Are you in Miami? Are you like, are you stressed out? Are you not stressed out? Like it just changes all the time. So what I would do is I would take the oil serum, I would jam pack all of those things in there. And this way I could, if it was getting colder out, if I was going someplace dry, I could add a bit of the oil serum to my creams. I also say if anyone has their favorite creams as well, like they just can't part. Sometimes we just love the texture and the finish of whatever cream we're using. I always say, well, if at one point that cream, because during a whole year's period, your skin doesn't have the same need. So like you can add our oil serum to any existing cream. And this way you get peptides and some of the other actives in there as well. So I call it kind of modular. So what I normally do is I put on the Hydra Serum, then I pick my cream after that. Do I feel like a lipid glow or do I feel like a Hydra satin? Where am I going to be? And then usually for me, and if in New York, it's been crazy cold. So then I would add I don't like showing up someplace and my face is cracking.
Really?
I feel kind of self-conscious when that happens. Especially when you're a skincare founder, because you can't show up places with your skin cracking because they're like, we're not going to buy it, right?
They're like, really? That's your product? Right?
Doing very good. So I'll add the oil serum so that when I walk in the door, I don't have to thaw out first. My skin's like juicy as I walk in the door from the frigid cold when I add a little bit of that oil serum to it. Yeah. And basically, the system is just a modular system. So you can, depending on where you are, what geography, what climate, what time of your life, you can sort of mix and match and add and subtract. And it's a little challenging at first. For some people, yes, but I think once you get the hang of it, you kind of get it.
Yeah, and it's really easy once you get the hang of it. Like the way I paired it on Shop My Shelf, I made sure that normal skin was more combo to oily, because typically that's what you can do. And then dry skin or really mature dry skin, I always put the dry to oily on there. And then for oilier skin, that's where I put the serum on my Shop My Shelf. And remember, guys, you will change this out. So right now I am like obsessed over the lipid cream, because my skin is dry. It's, I think, minus 16 today, but it was minus 20 this morning.
Okay, yeah, wow.
I still need this, but come the summer months, I'm going to switch it over, because I did try the combo to oily, and I found it was just as it was hydrating, but it just wasn't this.
Yes. A lot of guys as well like the Hydra cream because it's not quite so glowy and dewy. I see someone ask which one John uses. I'm not sure.
Well, I learned from you, so I use the Hydra cream. But if I'm needing a little more, retention, I'll mix this with the serum. So I did right in my hand,
and then apply. Yeah. And just to clarify for people, because I know every time we talk about oils, I had one lady said, if you have oily skin, you can't use oil. And I'm like, no, that's not true. Oils are very good for the skin. Can every skin type use your oil?
So it can, and it depends on you. It depends on you. We always say patch test first.
Of course.
Some people who have very acneic skin, it can be challenging because, of course, there's occlusiveness in there.
Right.
But we always say patch test because, some people with oily skin can really benefit from it. I like I told you, I would break out looking at an oil before 50. After 50, I can drink it, and like I need to. What I do is I just kind of soak myself in it at night. I put down a terry cloth on my pillow, and then when I wake up in the morning, it's all like settled in there, and I can start my day.
Yeah, we call that skin glazing. And I said you should look like a glazed donut by the end of the night. So when you're really bad, you can put them separately. So one or two pumps. Did you know this feels like cashmere when you put this on your face?
Yeah, yes, I do actually. Yes. Texture and finish is really important, right? And under makeup is very important.
Look at my skin.
Yes, and that's what I learned at NARS. Like as in my chemist world, I didn't care about any of that. Like you just put the good stuff on and you deal with whatever it looks like. But then at NARS, marketing, I was like, oh, it has to look a certain way and feel a certain way as well. Otherwise, women are not gonna want to use it, right? No matter how good it is. So that was really critical to work with makeup artists to make sure. And then we're working on other textures as well, because even those four, there's other people who, prefer even different textures than that. So we're working on how do we deliver all of these actives and the matricines in all of the different ways that people really want to receive them. So our goal is to sort of satisfy every skin, not just type, but skin want. Well, like the texture and the finish that they really love. So we're taking notes from different people, and then we'll probably have like 6 more, a couple more that sort of satisfy everyone's like sort of desire.
I love it. I love it. You know what? People love their options. And I love that you guys are doing that, because not a lot of people will do that. And I know a lot of people are saying like, one of the questions was, can you use it with retinol? Absolutely. You want your skin to recover. So if you have a compromised skin barrier, you've done exfoliating, skin conditions, like I mentioned, my husband has been going through chemo. For those of you who've done chemo, you understand chemo skin gets very thin, very frail, very dry. And it's hard to keep it hydrated with just regular moisturizers. Typically in the past, I would use Skin Fix because it had a really good concentration. This blows it out of the water. I'm not being exaggerating here. This is why I get really excited, Alec, because I'm just like, excuse my language, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. Like I just can't get enough of it. I have a girlfriend who's going through radiation right now, and I gave her a couple bottles thanks to you. Thank you for your team for doing that. She cannot wait to try it because it gives you real time. You can see it in real time how it's affecting other people, because I mean, I know you do your lab studies and you do your studies within your control group, but when you go out for people who are just going through the hardest time of their entire life, and the one thing they always had was their skin, it matters. It matters. So I'm really excited because I think this is probably the best moisturizing duo, skin repair duo on the market.
Natasha, I also wanted to say something about the retinol as well.
Yes.
Some people sandwich it with sweet chemistry, if you're kind of sensitized.
Yep.
As far as retinoids go, just a little hint from myself. I'm an adapalene fan. I've been using that since 17 for acne, but then I also use it into my 30s, 40s, and 50s as well. Only because for me, Tret is a little too aggressive for me, and I'm admitting this in front of the world, and I'm gonna get killed for it, but I'm not the best at reapplying sunscreen all day long, every 2 hours, a quarter teaspoon. Like I'm running around and I just don't. And so what was happening is, because if you don't protect the skin, and it's very vulnerable from the tretinoin, it's sort of going against what the purpose was in the first place. So I found, even though, yes, I know adapalene sort of works with different receptors, etc., I was finding that my skin was looking really like healthy and vibrant, and was still turning over, but maybe not as quick and fast as with Tret, but it was still doing it. And then what was funny is I actually met someone from Galderma who makes adapalene. And in my late 40s, all of a sudden I would go to the pharmacy, and usually it was like adult acne. I would get it for, covered. And all of a sudden they were making me pay full price for adapalene. And I was like, but I've got adult acne, which, I didn't by then, but like, and then at this dinner where I met the person from Galderma, I said, how come you guys are like charging now, when, people have adult acne and I'm not getting it, covered anymore. And she said, because we know some of you aren't using it for adult acne.
Gotcha.
So like, I've really enjoyed that. But then retinol, of course, tretinoin. I never know how to pronounce terotinozine, but that one as well.
No, that's, I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
And you can sandwich it. But what I like to do is I'm an every other day retinoid. So I alternate. And so I like the sort of turnover action. And then I really love the matricines. Repair, soothe. After microneedling, when I put the oil serum on, like it just sort of like my skin just like immediately goes like much less red and just feels very soothed.
Yeah.
So like that's been my approach with retinoids.
Oh, I love retinoids. I can't do tretinoin either. I'm too sensitive. But I like a retinol. That's my favorite, and that works really, really well as well. But it's just think of this Sweet Chemistry Lab as the best, probably, well, I'm going to say it here. It is probably the best hydrator, moisturizing duo, skin repair duo I have literally tested to date.
I see so many questions.
Yeah, do you want to answer some of them?
Sure. Someone asked when, as soon as I get home after my microneedling, like at the salon, they do it, and then they like, they infuse something in there, and I just get home, I wash it off, and I put the oil serum, like, 20 minutes later, as soon as I get home.
Just put the serum over top, you're fine. As your esthetician friend, leave it alone. I can't help it.
Yes, it's so so great. So many people asking, and they just taught us how to spell I'm
not going to try it. I butchered matricines. It took because I kept thinking matrixyl, and I'm like, it's not matrixyl, but my brain couldn't wrap around matricine, so I apologize.
Close enough.
Close enough. I love it. I absolutely love it. And like I said to all my viewers, Alec is kind enough to give us 20% off, so BeautyJM20. And for my Canadian friends, because of course I'm in Canada, all you have to do is send them a quick message on their support page, let them know what your order is, and they will send you an invoice, and you can still, they're going to work on it for us Canadians, but that's a way you can get it. So I just want to let you guys know that it is going to be absolutely fantastic for us Canadians as well, because our our weather really, really blows down here, or up here, I should say. It sucks.
Yes. Anyone, to make it easier, it was like just support at sweetchemistry.com or on the website support. And then we'll just take care of it, send an invoice and send it, And then in a couple of months, we will be at a new fulfillment house that will be able to ship internationally for us. So in like 2-3 months, if Joel's on here somewhere, he's working on it. And then this way we'll be able to like get everywhere.
Absolutely. And I so appreciate that because, I just, like I said, I just want, I want your product to go viral because it is the best of the best of the best of the best. My hat's off to you, my friend. If I had a drink, I'd be like, clink, you should really, I hope you take the moment to, here we go. We'll do a water bottle clink. Here's to an incredible product that you put together because again, I'm going to say it again. Holy shit. You guys knocked it out of the park. Joel, I can't get over like the way it heals the skin. It's sensational. It's going to be the next thing. Like, honestly, I would not be surprised if dermatology clinics start carrying it to help with their clients and their barriers. Because this is the best of the best. I've tested.
We've gotten some really great, outreach, and I think, this year it's really starting to sort of happen for us. And we noticed that estheticians are the ones who are leading the pack. Estheticians and then some of the science-based content creators on social media, they're really understanding it. And then a lot of them who usually only talk about the less expensive. Oh, and I meant to say products like Skin Fix, etc., all amazing products at that price point.
Yes.
And the only reason why we are at this price point is because when you have 45% versus 10 to 15, and then the glass airless is a fortune because that's the only one on the market. We're hoping that, and then the matricines are made right here at Xilex Bio within the SUNY State Medical Center by batch. And, it's not easy to make matricine peptides from upside bone by batch, right? We don't just buy, actually we do buy the industry peptides, but I put the industry peptides, all of them, including copper, in there at functional levels so that anyone coming over from a peptide serum, and just everyone be careful when you see peptide complex, not a good thing. Ask, even write in and be tell us the percentage of peptide that you use in your formula, because I'm not going for the 5% peptide complex bit. A complex is never a good thing to read. Just FYI.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's saying they think the cost is actually well deserved. I agree. I think you marketed it perfectly. There's still it's not the most expensive moisturizer I've ever tried, I'll be honest, but it is the most effective I've ever tried.
It's not. And I will say the goal is, for example, the glass we have right now is borosilicate, and we're looking to go into limestone glass. And so hopefully that will be much cheaper, and we're just doing some stability testing with that. And then we're hoping in the next batch, it's looking pretty good. In the fall, we're going to probably do double the production. And when you do double production, what happens is the cost of all the raw materials, you get what they call quantities of scale. So you get it for a less price. So our goal is a very healthy business margin, right? We have to pay people, send them on vacations, make sure they've got retirement and health plans and all the rest, and be a really healthy company. But we are going to stick to that margin. And then, so we'll hopefully be able to bring the cost down in around the fall, hopefully. So we'll see. It's never going to be inexpensive, but at least it should be what you pay for. That is critical. And then things like, just FYI, when we come out with cleansers, our exfoliators will be a little expensive because I have some ideas for exfoliators that I'm
I have ideas about exfoliators as well.
We'll talk.
Oh, can we talk? Because
Yes. Some really beautiful exfoliators that have not been out there that I've just dreamed about for 36 years. So those might be a little elevated, but cleansers. Our cleansers are going to be, very reasonably priced. It's going to be a little odd because some people are you luxury? And I'm no, we're not luxury. We're just get what you pay for. So our cleansers, you don't need peptides in a wash off. You don't need a lot of actives in a wash off cleanser. But as you know, it's important to cleanse, right? That purification step is critical. So our pricing is not sort of luxury or across the board. It's whatever you pay. So our cleansers, for example, will be super affordable.
Yeah. Well, and that's the whole thing. Cleansers are cleansers. I tell people that's not where you spend the big bucks. Spend the big bucks on your active ingredients and these duos.
Yes. And eye creams.
Yeah.
We, eye creams, yes, if you have the optical diffusers or you have a certain texture that's better for around the eye. Mm-hmm. But the cost of goods of that cream is no more than anything else. So an eye cream in that kind of size should be much, much less if you're so our eye cream will be based upon cost of making that eye cream. And that will be strangely low considering what the industry thinks that you should pay for a premium eye cream.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And like I said, this is a great combination. Yes, you can put Sweet Chemistry under your eyes.
Yes, you can. I do it everywhere.
Too.
I know some people, they like the optical diffusers. They want a different texture around the eye. They want thicker, So I'm not a believer. Eye cream, probably put a little more brighteners in there. But the eye cream is not necessary, but a lot of people just love them.
Well, I just want to show people, I have not been using an eye cream with this duo. So let me show you. This is the kind of hydration. Look, 51-year-old skin. Look at the snapback.
Bouncing back.
And with makeup and powder on. Yeah, it's a fantastic duo. And like I said, BeautyJM 20 gets you 20% off. And if you get confused about which one to purchase, you can go on Shop My Shelf because I just broke it up for you guys. I got Alec to look at it to make sure I was following what his envision was. And I think we got it.
Yes, yep.
Yeah, such an honest company. Not available in Canada. Yes, you can, Nicole. All you have to do is just send them.
Uh-oh. I guess we're paused.
Sorry about that. Ugh.
Oh, you're back.
My apologies. Yes, for Canadians, you can. You just have to email Sweet Chemistry and you just tell them their order and they'll do that. Kim's asking, we need your routine.
Oh, my routine? Yeah, so it varies. During the winter, it was every morning it kind of changes. Like in the winter in the frigid cold was, okay, hydroserum, juicy, bouncy, then lipid cream when it was freezing out, so that I don't show up anywhere cracked. And then some days when it's really bad, I put a couple squirts of the oil serum in there. It's now becoming spring, a little warmer. I'll start to use Hydro Cream more than the lipid cream because I'll get really glowy really fast. So I prefer to kind of switch to the Hydro Cream at that point. And then in the summer, a lot of times in the summer, or if I go to Miami, I just use the Hydro Serum alone. August is hydroserum and that's it for me. I actually does a great job, even if on 57-year-old skin. So, my routine, really varies, but I will say some people ask me my main tip for what I think has helped keep my skin as healthy as possible at this age. And, I always sort of say, flossing.
That's not what I was expecting.
In fact, I'll tell a little secret. In order to get people to floss more, we're hopefully going to work with the American Dental Association and provide with our cleansers like 2 months worth of floss too with it. But the reason is because without fail, I've always flossed every single night, no matter how drunk, no matter how tired, no matter how late, whatever it is, always floss because the idea of food decaying, and being absorbed into your gums, and it's sort of been well documented about the health effects of that happening on a regular basis. And then as you get old, the whole thing about gum recession, all the tissue receding, and then that to me, provides less tissue for your skin to sit on. So some of the ways that if they've asked me, well, how have you kept your skin looking, good through your late 50s is making sure that my gums were healthy and pink and not receded as much, so that my tissue can sort of lie on top of that. So I really make sure that there's no food decaying that has a chance to decay and then get into my gums.
Excellent. Oh, and I agree. I can't not floss now. It's just feels like it's not clean without the floss. The question I have is people, especially myself as an esthetician, a master medical esthetician, when I was being educated back in the day, we were told there was a difference between having, what's the word I'm looking for again? Oh, somebody just put it here. Medical grade skincare and then regular skincare. Now, we know that that's not quite the same, but when we're talking about matricines that in my brain feels more medical. Could you elaborate, maybe help the community understand your thoughts on this?
Sure. So there's the marketing side of me that's like, yeah, it's medical grade. And then there's the chemist side that, in terms of regulatory and compliance, we're a cosmetic, right? We're not a drug. So, to sort of say medical grade, there's no definition to medical grade. There's nothing to adhere to and apply for. So medical grade is whatever you want it to mean. Now, I think what has kind of happened is if you're in more of a clinical setting and you're in more, a derm office or a clinical setting, the marketing way of using medical grade kind of signals that, you're using things with a little bit more technology, right? And not just sort of what you got from CVS, right? Which everything from CVS, there's a lot that's great, right? Like for the price, you're getting hydration, which you're not getting any ceramides in there, just telling you, but you're getting lots of humectant and emollient, and it's all good. And that's at the end of the day, many people, that's all they want and that's all they need, and they don't want to spend all the money, right? For some of us that are a little bit more obsessed with the skin, we just want all of those things. So when it says ceramides on the bottle, you want the ceramides in the bottle.
Exactly. And at efficacy, we want the proper efficacy of them. But matricines, you can't just go and buy it with your regular peptides, right, Joel? That's my thought process is like, it's not prescription, obviously, it's not FDA, it's not a drug, but this is more than just,
True.
That's what I want to say is that I think we're finding that gray area where we understand it's not, darn, I hate this phone today. I feel like there's a little bit of spot, because to me, I would foresee this as medical grade based on the formulation and what's in it, the matricines.
What I will say is, as I told you, a lot of the complexes out there, right, that give you all these amazing results. When you look on the ingredient list, the ingredient list is what we call INCI ingredient list, which is international nomenclature. By law, you have to utilize the INCI name. You can't use your marketing name. So by law, you can't use your 5361 complex, on the ingredient list. You can use it in marketing, but what happens is in the ingredient list, it's written out as the peptide and the, whatever extract. You'll just see that in the ingredient list. And the nice thing with AI is kind of helping us a little bit, because if you do a search of those ingredients that are supposed to be proprietary, right? If you look in AI and ask AI, okay, are any of these proprietary? They're like, no, they're in every product in the world. It's just you've named this group of them a certain way in marketing. Well, Xilex had the wherewithal to get, and they've done this with several different organs, by the way. I won't go into that right now, but they have the INCI name for peptides extracted from different organs. So this one on the ingredient list is upcycled cow bone extract, which is all of the peptides, over 350 of them extracted from the bovine bone, which I'm told bone is one of the most regenerative organs, which is why they chose to utilize those matricine peptides. So when you see the ingredient list for sweet chemistry, hydrolyzed cow bone extract, and you ask AI, does any other product in the world have this? AI will say no, the only one in the world is sweet chemistry, because Xilex makes them here. They have their own internationally recognized INCI name that no one else can use because it's patent pending. So at the very least, there's a real technology, right? Even if, no matter what you think about it, at least it's something real. And there's some other brands that do have their own technology, right? I think Anti-Age, Plated, OneSkin has their own peptide that they developed. Like, at the very least, at least have your own technology. And can we I shouldn't say get rid of the peptide complexes or the, miracle complexes, but as long as we really realize that some brands have their true technology that they've worked on. I think Xilex utilized in the field of medicine, I think it was eight years and around $8 million to study, extracellular matrix and the matrikines that come from them.
Yeah.
I thought you could just suck matrikine peptides out of, tissues, no problem. But apparently it takes quite a bit of understanding. So yes, when you're talking medical grade, there maybe one day there will be a word that is in our industry where yes, you actually have to have your own technology with its own inky name on the ingredient list. Maybe one day we'll have a definition of something.
Yeah, because I understand the differences between the two, and again, with the lab, that's a completely different lab than what you would do when you go product like white labeling, right? Like it completely different. And this is why Sweet Chemistry Lab is so incredibly unique.
Thanks for saying that, because the Wall Street Journal approached us in May, and the writer, a 70-year-old writer or editor, he was a senior editor there. He's retired, and then he went on to be editor-in-chief of Worth and Fortune magazine and another one. And he had retired. He was I guess making sailboats or something like that. And he got skin cancer. He had to have the surgery to remove it. And he started to get very interested in taking better care of his skin. So he said that he had looked out in the market and every brand said proprietary, science-based. So he set out to investigate 136 brands that called themselves science-based to see what is really behind this word. So he interviewed us, and then he said, "Can I come see your lab?" And we're like, "Okay, how's next Tuesday?" And he's like, "Great." And and then after he came here all day, he looked at everything, he studied, he had so many questions. He poured over our studies, and usually nobody really cares that much. But then he said to us, out of all 136 brands he asked to see the lab, we were the only ones that said okay. And he said that a lot of the brands were like, well, it's too top secret what we're working on, so we can't bring you there. And then when he asked for an address for the lab, where is your lab then? Even if I'm not allowed to go there, even the address was too top secret. And the reason for that is because we all know that 99.9% of the brands, the lab is at the contract manufacturer, white labeling, right? Every contract manufacturer has a lab, and you go there and you have your idea and you're like, I want to utilize, some kind of funky new extract, the fun new mushroom peptide. And can you, make something that I can talk about mushrooms? And then the lab at the factory will make something for you. And then then they'll make it. But a lot of founders and brands don't even know what's in it, other than 5 things that they can talk about in marketing. So when the Wall Street Journal asks you for the address for the lab, you can't give them the address of the contract manufacturer. That's going to be weird, right? Mm-hmm. So it was very interesting to us, because I've always kind of known that, but to get it confirmed by him was really gratifying. And then when he wrote the article, he wrote about coming here and learning about the organ rehabilitation work and transplant work. And then he also said that Sweet Chemistry was the most researched document. Sweet Chemistry is the most documented for the research behind their products. And that, I think, was highly, highly satisfying. You may not like our maybe, who knows, everyone likes something different. But at least if you're going to try us, at least there has been a lot of work behind it.
Yeah, a lot of love, a lot of work. I love independence. It's kind of my credo, right? I like being independent. I love that you came from a ton of experience, both you and John, and then you just found something that just was perfect for you, and you made it your own. And like I said, I love independent labs. I love that. Not that I have anything against other labs by any stretch. I've seen some decent stuff, but as I get older, I want the good stuff. I don't want, like, I don't have children. I have a budget, I'm doing great. I don't mind spending the money. I mind spending the money when the value is not there. So to me personally, yes, Celeste is independent. Other brands I've talked about, are they independent? Yes, they are. So this is why, for me, this really hit home. And I just love what you guys have done. I just can't thank you enough for coming on, and sharing your knowledge and all your experience with us. Again, I apologize for my system, obviously. But I would love the opportunity to maybe even meet you in person one day, come say hello.
To the lab.
I would love to come to your lab.
You told John.
Okay, I promise I'll behave. I promise I'll behave. No, but I'm just a big old nerd, and I love, like I said, I just love promoting people who are good, solid, honest people that just want to create a killer, awesome product. Have a good business value in there, and just do incredible things. Like I said, you're filling a niche that has not been filled, and now you have it. You have this niche. So all my sensitive clients out there, all my, chemotherapy clients, for those of you who are going through a hard time, I noticed somebody said sometimes you get stinging. Remember, if your barrier is hyper compromised, everything's going to sting. So please keep that in mind. It shouldn't burn to the point where you're like, oh my God, what have I done? But a stinging sensation is common when you first rehydrate. So just to clarify that. And if it's really, really bad, please go see your dermatologist or doctor, because there might be some underlying skin conditions that need a little extra love. But I have to say,
it's always good if people have sensitized skin, if you're doing a lot of procedures as well, and you have sensitized skin, always good, just Google a patch test, and I'll show you how to do a patch test as well, because there's a lot of active ingredients in our product, so always good.
Yeah, no, but I love it. And for those of you who want to give it a try, I highly recommend it. Like I said, BeautyJM20. If you're like me and you're in Canada, you can definitely go and just send them a quick email with your order, and they will make sure that you have your order sent to you. So they're working on, I think this kind of blew up for you, didn't it?
It totally blew up for us, and I just was waiting for an opportunity to be like, between you and all of your community, I mean, I can't believe all these people are on here and like saying all these wonderful things and all these questions. It's really helping us get to the next level and getting us exposure, getting us out there. So it's a huge thing for us, really massive. Thank you.
Very grateful. My community knows that we are fact-based, not fads, true, viable, educational-based. I worked my butt off to make sure that, everything is always on the up and up. My integrity is forefront. My honesty is forefront. And my clients know this. So my viewers know this. So they know when I get excited, they're like, uh-oh, their heads perk up. They're like, oh, Natasha's excited. It's got to be good. And I'm really grateful for my community, again, for your trust and for your guidance and your questions, because it helps me search for new things. And I would have never picked this up. Like, it's sometimes you get stuck in a rut and you're like, ugh, I'm tired of trying new things. And I'm really glad I picked this up, because I'm just like, holy shit. Like, this is even better than my skin fix. Like, this is amazing. So I'm really excited to see you grow, and I'm really grateful for my community to support you as well, because I think that's how we're going to get really incredible skincare products, ethical skincare products out there. And I don't know, maybe we can do another live somewhere down the road, and I can get my darn phone fixed and figure that out.
This was our first ever, and you and the whole, like everyone out there made this really a great experience for us.
Yeah.
Well, I'm grateful, and thank you so much for your time. We've been talking for almost 2 hours now. So yeah, I was just like, wow, we were just going.
Oh, the time went by quick.
It did. And for my viewers, I'm going to, obviously with Alec's permission, we've taped this. Hopefully the sound will be okay, and we can kind of do that. But it's also going to be on my website, BeautyJM.com. For those of you who want to join the Unfiltered Beauty Club, which is my club for my viewers, if you want to join that as well, awesome. And that's where it will be for those of you who didn't get to watch the whole thing, but it's absolutely fantastic. So I just want to say thank you again, gentlemen. I know you gave up your Saturday, and thank you for my community for joining us. This was absolutely sensational. I really appreciate you all.
So much, everybody, for your Saturday night.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So don't forget to pick yours up, because guys, you're almost sold out, correct?
The lipid cream are almost sold out. We will do pre-order, and it's all your fault.
Well,
Oh well, and we're hustling to get back into stock of that. But in the meantime, the nice thing is it's getting a little warmer. I've switched to Hydra Cream with a little oil serum. So just a little tip out there, but lipid cream will be back by the first 2 weeks in April.
oh, perfect. Yeah. We'll limp along. We'll make it work.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the amazing product and the little peek of your lab there. And we'll chat again soon, I'm sure.
Okay. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Take care.